Hey there, fellow survivors. Rhadamant here. Thank you for tuning in to Icarus, Volcanic Prometheus. Episode 18, The Survivor of the Basalt Expansion. How have I not found more fiber cactuses around here? What gives? I've wanted to use my Reaper scythe so long, but I haven't passed by any fiber sites. Because I've just like obliterated all the ones around. Now silica becomes a necessary resource for other reasons other than glass and concrete. Because you end up needing silica for carbon fiber and, you know, well, if you're going to make more concrete. So it's one of those world no's that I almost always hit when I happen upon it, because I've almost always like, oh, I need more silica. But I'll at least the Volcano, very rarely say that about, like, sulfur, for instance. I think for maybe the final thing I want to accomplish this stream is to get some proper medicine going. So kitchen bench, med bench, survival and health elixir, and to start stocking that so that I'm not just one injury away from being crippled out in the wilderness, which sounds real bad. Yeah, carbon fiber paste and composite paste. There's not a lot of stuff that you need a ton of carbon fiber for. You usually need it in smaller batches, like 4 here, 4 there. But composite paste, you're going to need buckets of it. So for now, I'm just going to stick the silica I've got in my cement mixer. I don't know why I put the bricks in there. Knowing that sooner or later I will definitely have use of them being. What are you doing up here? So that means I need to make a med bench. I've got basically all the ingredients on me already, so just move some of the copper nails around. And then the kitchen bench is like just a fancier, smaller cooking station, more or less. So I could get it just to conserve space. It's just not one of those like must-haves. But it certainly wouldn't be bad. So yeah, let's get those nails. And get the... Oops, wrong one. Got the medicine bench. The other one that I really like in Tier 3 tech is the butchery bench, which allows you to make prime meat out of regular meat. I'll unlock it, but I'm not going to be grabbing that just yet, because there's other things that I could... that would serve me better. And then any of the benches like this one that are of this form factor will like snap to each other, so you can create, you know, like a kitchenette of sorts. So for this med bench, yes, I don't have a lot of room, so let's just stick it here. Horrible spot for it. So what I'm hoping to do is to stockpile a little bit of health elixir and a little bit of survival kit. The platinum weave and the honey... Maybe I'll just do health elixir for now. The honey would require me to, like, go and do beekeeping, which is a tier 2 And I don't really want to make the investments for that. God, where is it? At the moment. So honeycomb products for honey and beeswax on the mortar and pestle. And then beehive plus the other beehive tech, which is like breeding centers, extractors, expansions, and large beehives. That's I'll say like a bridge too far for what I want to accomplish right now. So instead, let's get some health recovery elixir, which is a very reasonable thing to have in bulk when you're going into any sort of combat. So that, you know, if you run into something that ganks you, you don't just insta-die. Which means this freshly reaped wheat is going to be sown, or ground, not seeded. So for that, it's mortar and pestle into flour. And then the other materials that I need for this thing is charcoal. Probably the easiest... I could do charcoal out of biofuel, but because I'm deep drilling with biofuel, I think what I'm going to do is just, like, keep this fire going with wood. Make charcoal the old-fashioned way. And then salt, which eventually I might want to deep drill for, but for right now, I can just mine up what I find. And then resin, and the resin is going to require me... Why are you there? The resin is going to... Oh, you are dehydrated too. The resin is going to require me to hunt some drifters. Which is yet another task. Right, follow me. Come on. Come on. Outside. There we go. Design a base that they're less likely to follow me up here and, like, clog up my working area. And then they do that. Occasionally. It's a lot better than previous base designs I've come up with where, like, I'm constantly bogged down by stupid animals. So it could be worse. I will... need to fill up my water soon. I'm trying to think of the other things I'm going to need to do. So, I think, have the materials. Yeah, we definitely have the materials for the pick now. Which allows us to get the copper pick. That was another one of those hanger-ons. So, updating the priorities now. Stockpile meds. So we got flour and salt. We need charcoal, which I'm working on, and resin. And the resin is going to be the annoying one because I need to go murder drifters for it. And maybe not right now. The other thing to consider is the envirosuits. So the envirosuits I tend to lean towards is these down here. So I think I am going to sell some exotics. How much do I get for 70? 350. I'll sell 50 exotics to oh, I need 300 for that. So let's sell 20 more. To craft or research and craft that suit, which has one more module slot. And then my remaining funds make a mass dampener for movement speed. Now the other ones here, poison resistance, oxygen, food and water consumption, nearby allies have quicker healing, nearby allies have increased carry capacity, fall damage resistance, heat, cold, fishing, cave sickness and damage to worms. And this stuff, mind you, is like red exotics, which are even rarer than what I currently have access to. So that one would be nice. Hyper and hypothermia. Tame creature, movement speed, and max stamina is nice if you pair it with the other movement speed bonuses of your animals. Deep wounds and basic wounds would be very helpful for me. Normally I would ignore that, but that's really helpful for me because of how annoying it can be early on. Sea creature health, which is a nice one. If I got that one, it would make sense to probably respec out of health bars, or alternatively find health bars through the health monitor at the bottom of the solar tree. Those are both potential ways to get around those talent points. And then these are all like weight capacity inventory slots. And then down here is aimed highlights and world bosses. And the world bosses you could very easily get on a helmet attachment later on at tier 4. So that's like not important. But now that I've crafted that stuff, let's go and request it. So they get faster. So I'm working on picking up exotic sprinter, and I will have a mass dampened suit too. And once I have both, I'll be moving even zippier, which is really convenient for a lot of these overland travel mission ops. There is a diminishing returns. Oh, I should have sent my old suit up, but there's diminishing returns, so getting multiple movement speeds together isn't better. It would be 15%, not 20. So just keep that in mind. Okay, let's water the crops and pigs, and then go hunt drifters for medicine material. Where's... who am I missing? Where are you? Oh, there you are. Okay. No one's dehydrated to death. Good. And the benefit of the iron plots over the wooden ones is they can also be plumbed to be able to do watering without any manual labor. As long as you have a pump, which I don't have a water pump. And I don't really like the biofuel water pump compared to the electric one, which is why I didn't bother. The level of convenience I would gain isn't essentially worth it to me. I'm sitting at pretty decent movement speed. Another one I'm missing is I don't have a gun to run around with, because I do have the movement speed with firearm equipped. So even getting like a single shot pistol to run around with as like a fake weapon, like, would essentially be a net benefit to me, but I just haven't done that yet. Mostly because I find the firearms that you can have before you hit tier 4 are just like underpowered. You might as well use a bow. And then once you get like 7.62 rifled or caliber rifles, well, that is a bit different. Then your sneak damage bonus on headshots on new fresh targets is noticeable. And I would also say... so here's another one. A lot of the world bosses... minor spoiler, not a big one. A lot of the world bosses have really good resistance to just, like, basic damage. And arrows... there are specialty arrows that you can get, but most of them you get through requisitions. Like, explosive arrows. So if you're trying to kill world bosses... you're very limited as to what arrows you can fire at the bosses that are going to be effective. Whereas with bullets, it's not exactly true, but you have more options for, like, you know, specialty bullets. You, of course, can farm the resources to get, like, poison arrows or bleed arrows or whatever. But for the purpose of this challenge, where I'm not, like, allowed into the swamps, so I don't have a lot of miasma-type volatile compounds, I don't have the available, those kind of resources available to me. Which means that, like, for boss killing, it might make sense to just, like, you know, bring an assault rifle and spray and pray 5.56 millimeter rounds at them, rather than to fire a bajillion arrows over the course of a long time, or just straight up try to spear them to death. Although with some bosses, that's, like, not even a viable solution. But yeah, I personally like just running around with a hunting rifle, popping real hard for first hit or first few hits, and then switching over to melee for this challenge specifically. But there is the miasmic stuff, which requires distilled voltaic miasmas, which can be useful. And then if you wanted to really stick with arrows, there is, of course, the physical resistance miasma arrows, there's poison arrows, there's bleed arrows, and then there's the world boss arrows too, which are I forget where they are exactly. There's the black wolf arrows, which are hemorrhaging arrows, and the sandworm arrows, which I have a few of, which are the wound arrows. And these status effects don't work great against world bosses, but like explosion and bleed do. So if you just to repeat that, and I don't, maybe chat you could disagree, but generally I find that, like, most bosses can tank status effects no problem, because they don't really rely on, like, health regen to kill you. But if you dump enough bleed damage or explosive damage or poison damage on a boss, depending on their specific elemental weaknesses, that could tip the scales in your favor. Okay, I was supposed to be hunting drifters, and I got real sidetracked. Have I? So there is an unknown deep drill here that I could find, and one there. So while I'm down here, maybe I'll survey that. Figure out if it's copper or gold, which are the two that I'm probably going to need in the most abundance until I hit tier 4 with titanium. But with the titanium in mind, there is titanium everywhere in the caves around where I am. So even when I hit titanium tier, I don't think I'm going to be hurting for titanium. Whereas I might be hurting for gold or copper. And I ought to circle back to the Oxide Miner at some point too. Nope. Now that sticks and bones are not hard to come by, wasting arrows don't feel so bad. Before, when I was like super poor and didn't have farming, it felt a lot worse to lose an arrow. Hey, awesome. High quality copper. was pretty low on iron and steel back in the base, so let's get it while it's here. And then the last survey, before we continue on the oxide hunt, and maybe the last of the oxide I'll just grab from the drill. Where is the deep site here? Should be up this way more. We've got, what is that, coal? Obsidian. Not useful. It's important to note I have not checked the deep sites for the actual caves around me. And I don't want to get too close to there, because that's a boss fight. And not one I'll survive. There's a lot of complaints online about that boss, because they're persistent. That boss, unless you're like speed metal like me, it chases you, and it doesn't really let up. Bit of a bastard, if you will. But it's good to know that there's a copper site here for copper deep drill, if and when we need it. The other ones around here are over here, which is a bit close to Mr. Boss. There is one there that I could check, but it's far enough away from my base. I don't feel the need to go there right now. And with the salt I just grabbed and the oxide that I'll grab from the... so I'm going to drop the stuff off at the home, and then I'll go to the oxide drill and turn all that jazz into beautiful, beautiful medicine. God, it's funny when the pigs just like flatten the bug. Good pig. It's funny to walk past where I've already been. There's so many corpses everywhere. All right. I'll turn some of this into iron, some of it into steel. The oxide's going to become resin. And the bacon is going to become bacon. Yeah, I know that makes no sense, but whatever. You know what I mean. I'm actually surprised. Oh, well, it's probably because I'm next to a potbelly stove and the fire. So now, let's turn off the fire. Oops. Grab the charcoal. That's probably going to be enough charcoal for first few batches of medicine, I'd suspect. And all we have left to do is to obtain the resin. So I'm going to go out to the resin drill and empty it out. No point in building one and then never actually using it, right? really don't like the scythe hitbox sometimes. They're so fussy. Oh my god, come on. So, we got everything. Sweet. For this batch, I'll put most of my wheat back through the grinder. Yeast and lily back through the grinder. Reed back through the grinder. Hold on to some wheat to replant. And then let's get new seeds in here. I think I'm going to go with all wheat this run. Because there's a lot more you can do with wheat, right? Because bread, obviously. Thanks, pigs. Thanks. I can't leave. Okay. I don't really need walls there. I only have walls here, honestly, because of, let's get rid of them. Because I built the greenhouse first and didn't have the rest of the base enclosed, and now that I have the rest of the base enclosed, and I don't have to deal with pigs blocking extra doors, yeah, we'll just knock them down for now. The sunlight's actually much nicer this way, too, I think. And it will be more obvious when the farm is ready to be harvested, because there isn't, like, line of sight blocker for that. Yeah, definitely a more open concept, for sure. Oh, I ran out of water this time? I must have misclicked. I must have doubled up something. Alright, I think that's everything. Time to go get our drill on. Now, in a perfect world, I would have a spare biofuel can all fueled up to do a hot swap of fuel. Because it doesn't make a whole lot of sense to run out to the fuel drill, which I have here, without the ability to refuel it. I just, at the moment, don't have enough iron to even make the fuel, and then even if I did have the iron, it would still need to sit in the biofuel can to fuel up. Do I mean to take my O2 tanks off? No, but whatever. I'll be home before it matters. I'm used to having an oxygen tank, you know, the big one, and swapping with the air bladder, and then swapping back when I leave, and I just keep forgetting. Okay, almost there. It ain't close. I wish it was closer. Well, there it is. It's used up about a quarter of its fuel, and I got a lot of oxides. I mean, you know, could be better, could be worse. But that's oxides I don't need to get manually. And that's absolutely probably the best way to make electronics without leaving the volcanic region, is to drill for it. And those drills are weather safe this ashen veil won't kill it or anything. So, if I, let's say, average 3 resin per drifter kill, I just picked up about 130. So, that's like roughly 40 drifters worth of hunting without actually having to do any of the hunting, which is pretty sweet. And I do find it funny that the healing recipe in this game is like, rub salt in your wounds. You'll feel better. Like, salt and bread. Like, apparently, I don't know, sourdough heals us or something? Like, that's what I get from the recipe they offer. No complaints. I love it. It isn't like a honey poultice, which would make more sense in real-life terms. It's a... rub charcoal and salt on your wounds, which, like, don't do in real life. My god, no. That's horrible. Alright, stupid storm's about to stupid hurt in a minute. Let's get inside. I like the open concept a lot better. So with this extra oxide, it's all going to be turned to resin. Because the amount of organic resin you need to tech up is redonkulous. 'Tis the big grind. Oh, and this storm is going to also ash clog all of our production facilities. Like, I don't know how a mortar and pestle gets clogged with ash. I guess technically, yeah, I can kind of see it. If it's like full of ash, you have to keep clearing it out, but yeah. What the ash? But the final product, health recovery tonics. So all of my flour is becoming health recovery tonics. Yes, it's like I'm making, it's a weird recipe, but in a big old battle where I'm getting my butt kicked, it will 100% keep me alive. And my piggies are almost all max level, getting pretty close, and all that other resin is just going to become electronic fuel for the next tier tech. Did I say I don't have enough biofuel for another cell? So, if I wanted to hot swap the fuel tanks, that's what I was referring to earlier, which would be to get another biofuel can, which now I have the iron for because I just grabbed it out of the furnace. And then, so anytime I go out to the oxide drill, I bring a new can of fuel rather than I just run out there and then run home empty-handed, which makes... without actually refueling, which understandably makes very little sense. I think it's wise to have a spare can on hand for swapping, because otherwise you have downtime for your drills. You have to run the only can you have back home, and I mean, it's not smart. So pigs are fed and watered like they're crops or something. You know, it might... You know, I'm gonna do one more thing. Because I'm tired of not having doors. Let's, not only am I gonna want the medicine, let's actually, like, enclose our base. Shall we? I can afford to do it now, and, there. That's a really good milestone. A closed home. which is particularly important, I would say, in a volcanic region. So a thick metal door made of concrete. Actually, it's made of platinum. But there you go. Enclosed. It doesn't really do anything for the ash clog, because you would need, as you mouse over it, it needs a dehumidifier to manage that. But at least, like, I'm keeping the outside now, hypothetically, which is a milestone all the same. And here is my... It's not a full stack. I wanted a full stack, but yeah, whatever. 9 to 10 is fine. My health recovery tonics, which a single one heals me about 5/7 of my... Like, basically a lot. A huge old chunk of my health goes instantly recovered. So, pretty awesome. And I think this is where I'm going to leave off for this stream. With the caveat, of course, that I am totally fine if there's demand for it to continue past, because I think there's probably a lot of value in continuing this run and then, like, defeating bosses and pushing deeper into the null zone, which would be really neat, because I'm in a perfect situation to explore deeper into the volcanic zone for the other volcanic biomes, and then, like, into the, like, uncharted, super threatening territory that is even further afoot. But this, friends, is going to leave off starting from 0 and finishing up at pretty much the end of Tier 3 with basically 1 level, because I'm 28 and almost 29. Basically, at the start of Tier 4, unfortunately with only 1 death of this specific run, which is, I wish it was 0, but, you know, I'll take what I can get. 1 death for this run is okay. Thank you for tuning in to Icarus Volcanic Prometheus, which originally streamed live on Twitch. If you have any questions for me, let me know in the comments below. If you would like to catch a live stream of mine, Rhadamant.com has my stream schedule and countdown timers to upcoming streams. If you'd like to join my online gaming community on Discord, Rhadamant.com has a link to it, as does the description of this video. Thank you so very much for watching. Special thank you to my Twitch subscribers, Patreon patrons, and viewers like you that support the channel and made it all the way to the credits. Thank you so very much. I hope to catch you next episode or an upcoming stream. Farewell, my fellow prospectors.